Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis updated commodities, work our way through the dollar yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as I go through it, and if you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com, where I dive deeper into all these topics, sectors, looking for investment opportunities, and sharing those opportunities with everyone in the community. I do that through midweek updates and Q&A sessions on the weekend. Special coupon code that we have active, it's $25 off the first month only on the monthly membership and a $100 discount on the yearly membership. And you can always swap from a monthly to a yearly. Let's dive in, see what's going on today. Going into the DXY, we did see some weakness in the DXY. We've got this chart here. It's a falling wedge into a double bottom. It's been working its way on up. We're getting a little bit more selling pressure here. A little bit more selling pressure where the dollar's been selling off against these other currencies. We're also seeing weakness in yields. And these generally go together. Weakness in dollar, weakness in yields. So that's selling off here in the short term, the past couple of days, three there. We've got 2-year yield dropping quite substantially. So this could, we've been sitting here squeezing into this corner, and I said, hey, let's see. Now I'm in the camp that we were going to break higher. If we can jettison on lower here, we could get a break lower. That means that perhaps the Federal Reserve is going to lower interest rates and somehow get them down. I'm going to take my arrows off. I'm going to take these. I don't need those. And we're going to see what happens here. We're right on support. We'll see if we punch through here. Now, if we punch through, that could run with a weaker market. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ were not looking too hot, and the VIX has been spiking up a little bit. So maybe we have a little bit of a scare going on here where we could head lower to the downside in the 2-year yield. 10-year was selling off too. We're right at support. We'll see if support holds. Now, this was on a crash course to break higher. But if we get a slowdown in the market, which we could. I mean, I'll show you the charts later. This could break lower. And then we've got the 30-year yield also dropping 0.8% if it decides to load here. And there it is dropping there, but that's still an uptrend. We came from the downside up. We consolidated in here, and that's still in the upside camp. So I'm gonna remove these. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna be watching here. TLT bond prices moving on up. There we are, moving on up for bond prices. A pretty strong candlestick today. Now we were sitting here chopping sideways on support resistance, depending on how you looked at it. And here we are with the stronger candlestick today. Moving on up. Is money going to get scared into the bond market? Is that their play? Could be. We got the 2 and the 10 yield curve uninverting, and when that drops, if we get a drop here, that's when we get these events. C19, Great Financial Housing Crisis, 9/11. It's when the yield curve drops. So if we start to drop, that's when we could potentially see problems. It's money running into safety. And if it's manufactured or whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's money running into safety, increasing bond prices, and decreasing yields. TYX, TNX ratio heading higher. Now, when we go higher in this, gold's going to rip because we've been in this kind of basing pattern, and now we're starting to come on up. So we could see a move on higher here. where gold really, I mean, it just continues to keep going. That's what we saw here from uh, July of 2018 all the way to August of 2020. That's that move that gold went up last time. And we still have a long runway for that to occur. So gold up $121 an ounce just today. And this is it ripping. Remember July 2018. So July 2018, which was the last big move. So it was here in that circle. And then August of 2020 was here. So that was that move that I was talking about on this guy here. That's the circle here to here. It's from it bottomed in July, August of 18, October 18, and then we started heading higher. We've got the same. We have a very similar situation. It bottomed in 2022. That is September 2022, and it's been working on up. I'm using this as a gauge of where gold could potentially go, and gold is ripping. So we had gold bottom in that ratio there, September, which was like right in this. The ratio bottomed right in there, and here we are heading higher. So that looks good. Silver's up 3.62% today, just ripping. And this is when silver, gold, they all rip higher here, is when that TYX TNX ratio moves up. Platinum's ripping up 3.37% today. Palladium's up 5.16, just ripping off of its falling wedge double bottom, ripping higher there. We've got XAU to gold ratio. We are up a little bit today. It's not a huge outperformance day for the miners in relationship to the physical metals themselves. We are coming on down here. We had a little rising wedge. We came on down. Do we have another, little move lower here? It's possible where maybe the markets are seeing something. Maybe we've got weakness coming here in the overall stock market, and stocks could be sold across the board. So GDX is up 3.65. We got GDXJ up about 3, and then SILJ is up just a little bit over 3. And these have been flying, guys. They have been flying. Crude oil's down 1.24%. If we get a slowdown in the market, which is highly likely, it's possible, not highly likely, but a high probability percentage. We could see this do a false breakdown and then a rip higher. And that false breakdown could be the opportunity that we get to really load into the sector. But that could happen. And that's if we get a scare in the market, so to speak, or the S&P 500 selling off. And I'll show you what those charts look like coming up. TTF gas is up 1.4%. So we've been chopping sideways there in this channel. Natural gas in America is down 2.65%. So we've got a lot of selling pressure here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, past 7 days or so. Our boy XOP, yeah, you know me. We sold off a little bit. We're at support here. We'll see if that support holds. We're right on support there. If we get a big sell-off in the market, we could see this extend to the downside. That is a possibility. OIH also still underneath some resistance. I got that resistance there. We've got resistance all through there too. And we could roll over and sell off if the market does let go. So that is something to watch and something to pay attention to. Newcastle coal futures up a little bit today. That looks pretty good. Nice little bullish engulfing there to head higher for Newcastle coal futures. The Sprott Physical Uranium Trust is down 2.4%. Now that's getting a little bit of selling pressure here. Same with this in here. So even though we've got a decent setup and even though we're above support, if the overall market goes, we could get dragged down with it for a period of time. And it depends on how fast it falls too. The uranium futures pricing holding steady. Still looks okay. URA getting a little bit more selling pressure, down 4%. Now that is a little bit stronger selling pressure candlestick today, finishing quite strong to the downside. Could we see a pullback? I mean, obviously we could, and that is a reversal candlestick. So we'll see how the follow through looks. We've got Uranium also selling off a little bit, down 4.41%. Pretty strong candlestick. URNJ down 6% with a pretty strong candlestick too. We've got a lot of support through here, so sometimes we break through and then we come back and do retests. Nickel moving sideways still, down 0.16. Lots of chop there. We've got copper down 0.45%, so that's holding on. Just sideways action. Doesn't look too bad there. COPX getting a little bit of selling pressure. We're just consolidating on top of this structure. There's resistance up here. So we're trying to break through that resistance, but we're encountering some resistance there. Lithium's up 0.14. We're getting a little bit more selling pressure here. Could be a bearish setup. Big selling pressure. We're kind of coming up in like a rising wedge flag pattern. Could sell a little bit lower off here. REMX also getting some selling pressure. This is a reversal candlestick. It's a bearish engulfing. And we did get some follow through to the downside. So we could consolidate or move a little bit lower here in the short term for consolidation. And we'll see if that occurs. Iron ore down slightly. It's still holding on. I think it looks good on the longer term. But obviously we could bounce like this or do whatever, chopping sideways or something like that, depending on what comes. Aluminum is up 1.85. That's kind of weird that this thing's jettisoning on up. It looks really good to move on higher. It looks fantastic, in fact, because this is the bulk of the resistance, and we're starting to get above that resistance. Looks really good. Baltic Dry Index down a little bit. It's been chopping, getting a little choppy here. Emerging markets is up. It likes the weaker dollar. We have this nasty looking candlestick last week. This is the daily there. This is some nasty looking stuff there. Now, could we come back up and roll over? We could. We could. It depends on what the overall market does, I think. Move down a teeny bit. That's still doing its inverted shoulder, head, shoulder there. KRE down 6.2%. Now that's starting to break away from this area, and we're getting some pretty big red candlesticks. We'll see if this breaks lower. We're also seeing XHB sell off a little bit, not nearly as much as KRE. This one still looks good. We're just kind of putting in a little flag pattern. This could work its way on up with time. It's a nice bullish engulfing candlestick there. Above support. That looks good compared to some of the other stuff we're looking at. Russell's down 2%. Now we're getting some selling pressure here. Getting some selling pressure, and we could we could see this head lower here if the market decides. Because what I'm tying together here, it's not just these bearish engulfings that are showing up; it's the yields dropping lower too. And I'm kind of watching that like, is that a run to safety? Are they doing like quiet quantitative easing? Who knows? SPX also getting some selling pressure. And again, this is a nasty candlestick here. Nasty candlestick. And then are we going to see follow through? Question mark. That's not a comment. That's a question mark. NASDAQ also getting a little bit of selling pressure today. And it's a nasty candlestick there. Are we going to see follow through? We got to wait and see. Usually when you top, you get these big selling pressure candlesticks, and then you get the small little guys next to it. So that has the possibility to sell off. DJT still holding on above support, but again, the big structure here, this is a rising wedge breakdown. Is this a retest that we're going to turn and roll over? We'll have to wait and see. XLI holding above support. A little bit of selling pressure today. Bitcoin selling off 2.7%, still above key support areas there. That's your key support area. Ethereum down 2.9. Are we going to lose Ethereum? Well, we're at support. There's a lot of support in this general area through here. We haven't broken through that yet, so it's still holding on at this time. The VIX is starting to spike up, though. You see that? All right, what's going on here, right? We're getting above that zone. Now, is this going to pull one of these? Are we going to get a spike in volatility? This is what I'm adding up. So when you hear me, oh, we could fall, we could do this. Why is Andy changing his tune? Well, it's yields dropping. So it's really, to sum it up, it's yields dropping here. It's like, okay, what's going on here? Because this looks like it's ready to try to line up to try to break lower here. Now, if we break lower, that is people running into the bond market. They're seeking safety. Now, the only thing that we're missing is we don't have a strong dollar. The dollar went down. Usually in a safety trade, you'll see the dollar go up with yields dropping like a rock. So we're watching yields. The yield curve hasn't really dropped out of this support area, but it could. If it drops, and at the same time you've got yields dropping like a rock, like the 2-year dropping like a rock, that's what's driving it. And then we also see, combined with it, the VIX spiking like we have. This is where you have to be a little bit more alert on your toes here, because we could see something transpire here, like a more of a selling pressure, everything kind of sells off event could occur here. So the VIX is coming on up, yields are dropping, and that's where I'm saying we could see this kind of drop. The only thing I'm kind of missing is that strong dollar. Usually when you get these events, the dollar goes up. So if we go back to like this is 2020. This event here, you can see this March, you can see the dollar did a spike and then it came back down. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Are we going to like spike up and then come back down? That's what I'm looking for. And is this going to be an excuse for them to print a bunch of money, which will then bring this dollar down? And maybe it's front running that already. I don't know. And then they get in the market, print a bunch of money, and I think maybe that's why gold's doing this. Does that make sense, guys? So they want the yields to go, they want the yields to drop. They slow the market down as much as they can without completely crashing it, which is what we've gone through in 2022 and onward. That's why home sales have also slowed down and stuff like that. So they raised interest rates, they slowed it all down. Now they're kind of like sitting there like, well, we're pretty close to having this kind of all roll over. And then I don't know, maybe they're going to have an excuse for us to print money or do stimulus or something. And this is front running that money printing stimulus. The slowdown is seen in crude oil by its falling. The slowdown occurred here. That's what September of 2022 is here. That's when people were buying gold. So the inflationary surge was this one. The disinflationary surge or disinflation was all this. Now we're seeing things bottom in inflationary stuff. So are we going to get like a spike lower and then a move higher? And that is, do we get a scare and then do we get money printing? And the money printing is ingrained in the gold price. So it's front running money printing. Crude oil is just doing the opposite for the short term. Your opportunity is going to be here. because that's what turns next. The same thing happened if you look at gold. We had a slowdown, the yield curve uninverted and all that stuff. That was all through here. Then gold was running higher. It had a spike, and then they printed a bunch of money. And then when the money went, when inflation came through the system, gold chopped sideways. And this year was when oil took off. So are we going to get a move higher? They print money, and then we get some sort of spike here, and then we chop sideways in the future. I'm not saying what I'm drawing is correct time frame wise. We chop sideways, and then oil runs, and this is front running the money printing. Now this could be longer as we get that, but as this goes up, your asymmetry is getting lost. So that's what I've got there. That's kind of what I've got for today. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website if you'd like. Specials, the coupon code if you'd like to join. We do have a Q&A session on Sunday, 5 p.m. Mountain Time. All right, guys. That's all I've got. We'll catch you next time. See ya.